Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Dragon, why don't you set this one up? Because honestly, I don't really know how many people are going to actually be excited about this one.
Yeah, so folks, as you've probably guessed, we're here to talk about the Adam Project, the second collaboration between Shawn Levy, or Levy, your guess, as good as mine.
I'm pretty sure it's Levy. I don't know.
Shawn Levy, because you have Eugene Levy, and you got all these Levys. It's kind of hard to tell. All these Levers, Levys, who knows? Point being, Shawn Levy. Of course, Shawn Levy, the director who did Night at the Museum and most recently did Free Guy, the first collaboration. Ryan Reynolds has moved on to a second and is going on to a third, not just any third, folks, the third Deadpool movie.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the main reason why we're covering this. I honestly haven't seen a lot of hype for this online, so I don't really know how many people are actually going to tune into this thing, but that's okay. We'll go over it regardless. So Dragon, before I get to my thoughts on this, I just want to just kind of like go in with my expectations, because I got to tell you, even though I do think that Shawn Levy is an interesting choice for Deadpool, I did rewatch Free Guy because it's on Disney Plus now.
Yep.
And Dragon, in theaters, I kind of called it like the dictionary definition of a 7 out of 10. It's not that, Dragon. I'm sorry. I promise you, I like the Adam Project more. I'm not going to be a negative Nancy this whole time. Dragon, Free Guy really did not hold up on a rewatch for me, like, at all. Like,
just a knife in the heart right now. But
I'm sorry. I just gotta call it like it is. Your movie sucks. I'm going to give credit to yourmoviesucks.org, the guy who did the Kimba review, for this poster quote. But Dragon, it feels like the Steve Buscemi, like, hey yo fellow kids meme. I mean, that's what it feels like to watch that movie. That being said, the Adam Project, look, I'm not going to dwell on this, okay? I'm really not. I know you're a big Free Guy fan. I don't know. There was just something about the cringe to it that just. So I'm not going to dwell on it. I just want to say that I really was not looking forward to this. And I got to tell you, like, this isn't a 10 out of 10 by any means. There's probably no way it's going to end up on my best of the year or anything. But this surprised me. It's a nice little movie. And you know what it feels like is it genuinely feels like a throwback to kind of like the old school kind of like late 80s, early 90s, maybe even into the 2000s, sort of like, kids sci-fi movies that had a little bit of an edge to them. Let's see. I'm thinking something like I don't know. It feels kind of Joe Dante-esque almost. That might not be the best comparison, but I really like the way that this thing kind of like it has a cool sense of world building to it. It has a sense of danger to it, but it also has a lot of heart. And I liked it quite a bit. I don't exactly know how this director is going to translate to Deadpool, but I'm curious about it. So yeah, this is absolutely like one of the best performances I've seen of Ryan Reynolds, and I think that's probably the underrated component of this movie is that and I'll be honest with you, Dragon, Ryan Reynolds is a big part of why Free Guy doesn't really hold up for me, because I don't dig what he's doing in that movie from a performance point of view. I really don't.
You really liked him. You really liked that component of him for the first time when you.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you my experience on the rewatch. All right, I don't know.
Anyway,
here he's given a lot more dramatic stuff to work with, and I really think he shines. I mean, I don't know if I've seen all of his dramatic work, but this is one of the better performances from him. And overall, I don't know. I hope that this doesn't go down, but I'm saying this is a textbook 7 out of 10, but in a good way, in that it exceeded my expectations. It didn't blow me away, but it was a fun time. I enjoyed watching it. It wasn't a slog for me like I thought it'd be.
Okay. Anyway, so as I said, second collab between Shawn Levy and Ryan Reynolds after Free Guy. I loved Free Guy, and I've considered that honestly. I've considered it kind of Shawn Levy on the theatrical rebound. What he'd been doing since he'd been doing a lot of TV stuff like Stranger Things. He'd been producing and directing episodes of Stranger Things, which he'd been doing a pretty good job at. And I think he's been mostly producing things in the background, just kind of while he was doing that. So I mean, Free Guy onward has been making kind of a big return in a big way, and I think it's been good. I haven't really seen him get kind of like this solid since his debut with Night at the Museum. Well, not his debut, I should say. I know he's been doing like Cheap Bride a Dozen and stuff like that before, but I'm saying like Night at the Museum was the last time I was really blown away by Shawn Levy. I mean,
did he do the whole trilogy or just the first one?
No, he did the whole trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, he did the whole trilogy, and I like this movie, but no one really. I don't think the consensus or the old school fans like this movie. I liked what he did with the Pink Panther film because I thought it was really good. It doesn't top the original by any stretch. I'll say that, but I enjoyed it regardless. Still not blown away like Night at the Museum, which again for a time really did kind of impress a lot of people. Anywho. Point being, this film obviously made a lot more interesting. I'm sure it was kind of a timed release. Ryan Reynolds is being really coy. I'm going to assume he was being coy until the release of this film, so it would get a lot of traction. It's a smart move. Ryan Reynolds knows how to draw a crowd, which obviously helped Deadpool get made in the first place. Very interesting by the fact that Shawn Levy is officially directing Deadpool 3, which I'm thrilled by. And honestly, I was kind of hoping, part of me was hoping for after I saw Free Guy. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, mind you. I thought I was like, man, if they're going to do Deadpool 3 and they're going to look for a director, because, they've been shifting directors. If they don't get David Leitch back, who I'd like to see him come back, but if they got somebody else, Shawn Levy, I think, would be in the pool. And lo and behold, he's doing it.
I actually think out of the 3 Deadpool directors, he might be the one with the most distinct style.
Well, I mean... Maybe, but we'll see. I'm saying I think his style is going to lend itself well to Deadpool. I don't know. I mean, it's three different styles. I think Tim Miller probably still has the best and probably the most distinct style, but we have to see what
other movies has Tim Miller done though.
That's what I'm saying. Tim Miller was his Deadpool was Tim Miller's debut, followed by Dark Fate. So those were kind of Tim Miller's, films.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. I'm just saying like Shawn Levy, he's got a rich career of movies that we could draw on to he's got a vibe to him.
That's true, but he hasn't really done action since Free Guy onwards. That's the thing. So it's kind of like a fresh new, kind of seeing what he can do. Like we've seen the personal character stuff anyway. But overall, this is like a neat sci-fi concept that without Ryan Reynolds, I think would be a little bit more forgettable than ultimately it was. Because originally this was pitched as a Tom Cruise. Essentially, this is like a one of those films that got lost in development for many years. Apparently, it was a Tom Cruise movie.
Was it a Blacklist script?
I don't know if it was officially. I don't think it was officially a Blacklist script. I think it was just it was kind of shelved in 2012. Apparently, it's like, hey, Tom Cruise, you want to do a time travel movie? Do I?
No, I want to do The Mummy.
No, I want to do a thing where I get killed and come back. I want
to scream like a little girl in a plane in the trailer.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. So this, the big thing for me is Levy's direction on the kid and Ryan Reynolds' performance in this film. That's what really, I think, makes this film stand out and really kind of really impresses me. And that's the big component I really am blown away with the film. So again, I'm not as blown away as I was personally with Free Guy, but this was very fun. This was it was like a perfect Netflix movie in that regard, in terms of not as huge and theatrical, but still it was very if you're gonna sit down and watch a movie, this is a movie you want to watch. It's the action in this, I think feels ultimately like an audition for let's see. Ultimately, this movie feels like let's see if Levy could direct a Deadpool movie. Let's give him something like the Adam Project to cut his teeth on. So this very feels like the in between to getting to Deadpool 3 ultimately. And that you can do some action and the pathos and Ryan Reynolds. We got all 3 in there. I think he'll be a good fit.
Right.
So between this and Free Guy has my vote. Hey, got it.
Okay. All right. Well, so. Let's start with the tone of this thing, Dragon, because honestly, me, I'm a picky bitch when it comes to movies that kind of have a like a shifting tone. So when I saw initially that, we were going with like the dead father angle, and the mother was feeling very outcast from the son and everything like that. I was initially nervous, but I quickly I feel like the movie quickly kind of got me on board. I think the first scene that's really great, and I'm sure you'll probably agree with me on this being a great scene, is the scene at the bar with the mom and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it was. It was an absolutely great scene. Just the whole. We get to the heart of it really well. Where I think one of the things that just kind of hit me in the feels was just the regret over how he treated the grieving mother, and just Jennifer Gardner is so good in that bar scene with older Adam, and
She only has a couple scenes in the whole movie, but she really stands out.
But just seeing just the intimate moments of, she says, "I'm going out," and of course she's going out to a bar to drown her sorrows and be the grieving widow away from her son, and just seeing adult Adam just kind of have a moment to take that in, and also the whole how it leads to the whole hug your mom advice. Like that was some good stuff there. That was for sure. That if there's a Levy signature, it's definitely kind of the balance of the heart there. I think that was very. I think he's gotten better with that over the years. I think that's kind of goes to the show here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was actually pretty surprised with how well he struck that balance. I honestly think it's a better balance than in Free Guy, just because I feel like Free Guy gets a little bit too meta with some of its like emotional stuff, and then it's also a little bit too goofy. Honestly, Free Guy kind of has the same problem in places that I think Click does. Not as severe, not as severe of an emotional whiplash, but kind of similar, where it's like you got this like really broad, goofy comedy, and then you're supposed to really go back to earth. With this, I feel like the whole movie was a little bit more grounded, which made me really really kind of lean into the emotional stuff more easily.
Right. The big thing I want to highlight again, just the casting and the direction on Walker Scobell, the kid who plays young Adam. Seriously, just absolutely, you absolutely buy him as a 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds. Like smart mouth, the comic timing, just everything, just flawless. And there's a little bit of depth there, and again, just this Levy's strength in directing kid actors just really came out here. Yeah. I mean, it's a kid dealing with the loss of his father from from the car accident. And again, you can see that it's a kid directing his anger into being a wise guy. So it's kind of like answering the question, why is Ryan Reynolds so good at being a wise guy? You kind of can put the pieces together and connect the dots well with what's presented. Like him,
And he's not as over the top of a wise guy as he usually is either. Like, the adult character that Ryan Reynolds plays, like, like you said, he does have a comedy streak to him, but it's very much like a very sardonic, kind of sarcastic comedy that is very much a coping mechanism.
Well, something to highlight just with that element of it. I think one of the other strengths of the film, there's like this cathartic and meta element to the film. And I could be sounding like kind of a catharsis conspiracy theorist here, but just go with me on this. It's I think what makes this film special is how it parallels, to Ryan Reynolds' life, and like a lot of stuff. There's a lot of Ryan Reynolds in the DNA of this film, outside the obvious fact that it's him in the movie. But in the film where you have Ryan Reynolds dealing with a younger version of himself, there's going to be some personal things that are in there, and there's a lot of represent about Ryan Reynolds' career and his personal life that's kind of interwoven into the film in a really natural kind of a way that gels well. Think about it. Ryan Reynolds, like a few years back, he lost his father, so obviously there's a big component of that to the film. Last year, he lost his father-in-law, so there's kind of like a loss of the male mentor figure thing going on there.
Sure.
A big thing with Ryan Reynolds that's all throughout this film with the dynamic between him and his younger self, which again is one of the best parts of the movie. Ryan Reynolds, he's had anxiety through all of his life still to this day, and he's very hypercritical of himself. It kind of keeps him humble, so he's always very self-hating and very self-critical with deflecting compliments and just really much
I
just
actually didn't know
insulting.
that about him. That's I don't want to say that's refreshing, because it's like obviously that sucks for him on a personal level, but man, it's like Lord knows I can relate to that. So that's on some level that is kind of that helps to know that someone like him still has that sort of anxiety.
Well, yeah, it's the big reason he identifies with Deadpool, because Deadpool deflects a lot with the humor. It's the idea. So the idea here being Ryan Reynolds, I don't know if you've seen a lot of these commercials. I know I've shown you a few of the aviation gin commercials. Like Ryan Reynolds has, his YouTube channel, he puts out a lot of the aviation gin ads. And a lot of these ads, like around the timing of movies, like when Deadpool 2 came out around Father's Day, he had an aviation gin ad where he was being interviewed by himself and himself playing his twin brother, Gordon Reynolds.
Oh God!
So Gordon Reynolds is the bratty brother who just insults him. So the idea is Ryan Reynolds kind of insulting himself, just in a really like cutting way. So it's again a lot of that represented here, where Ryan Reynolds is kind of going off on his younger self, which I can relate to this. If it's the very realistic, if you were interacting with your younger self, I'd be hypercritical.
Oh yeah! Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I wouldn't cut him any slack. I don't like that guy. I hardly like myself. I really don't like that guy.
Right.
Anyway, so also he's a pilot, which he hasn't been since Green Lantern. So a little bit of that again. The wisecracking, definitely some Deadpool in there for sure. And again, as I mentioned, the other element. So again, I like that there's like so much DNA of Ryan Reynolds in this film. It's yeah.
All right.
So again, Shawn Levy kind of bringing a lot of that out, just the kind of blending the personal with kind of the blockbuster vibe.
Yeah, like honestly, the first act kind of had like an E.T. vibe to me almost.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Just with the single mom and the forest setting and everything like that, the tone. Then I think the second half is kind of leaning more into like sort of like a. Honestly, Dragon, I feel like the second half of this movie is about as close as we're going to come to seeing what a modern Back to the Future would be like.
I mean, yes and no.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just like it's fun that we have like that we're kind of like bouncing around in time and like kind of playing around with like different, like characters in different time periods interacting with themselves and stuff like that.
Well, I hesitate to say Back to the Future, Tiki, because the big thing of Back to the Future is you don't interact with yourself, or else you faint like Jennifer.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing. But you're right, though. It's kind of like doing the one thing we didn't do in Back to the Future. Like,
I'm just saying with the timeline jumping.
Right. Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, a huge part of this plot is Biff from Back to the Future too, obviously. So certainly, All
right, Dragon. Knowing my distaste for Free Guy, what do you think was my least favorite moment in this movie?
Well, I know what my least favorite element of the movie is. I'm trying to think of what.
No, I'm not saying element. I'm saying a singular moment.
God, I don't. I mean, does it have to? I don't know what.
Oh my God! Is that a lightsaber? They literally pulled the exact same thing in Free Guy. The exact same thing. Does Shawn Levy have a fetish for lightsabers?
Okay, the difference is that was an actual lightsaber they could get away with.
I realize this, but it's still like, oh, look, people, lightsabers. Do you remember lightsabers? Do you know that lightsabers are a thing that exists?
Would you have preferred they not call out that it's totally a lightsaber? Would you have preferred they just didn't acknowledge it?
I would have honestly preferred if they would have had a weapon that wasn't lightsaber-esque.
It was pretty cool though. Come on. It's like a Darth Maul thing, and he gives you.
No, I'm not gonna give you the pretty cool thing. I think it's just if Free Guy wasn't a thing, and if that wasn't as big of a moment, I don't know. I'm just like, it's honestly just a weird like. No, look, okay, I'll give it that.
Take the movie on its own merits, would you? Come on.
It's a pretty decent weapon. Yes, I probably would have preferred if they didn't call attention to it as much.
All right, fine. Okay, something to mention. Just again, I love a lot of the dialogue between the two. Between the two Adams. Like again, I love like some of the best barbs for me. Just all the quippage. This is like, wait, were you shot? No, I was stabbed with a bullet. Just so darn funny. That and when I say classified, what do you hear? Chocolate. Mm-hmm. Just calling out like the repetitious nature of the hyper kid of like, oh my God, what's going on here? Is asking all the obvious questions, and your older self is like, look, it's very obvious what's happening right now. Just listen instead of asking about time travel and stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, I think the best scene in the film for me, it's the bully scene. It's the MVP. Just
really, that's your MVP. I mean, I don't think it's a bad scene. It just didn't necessarily stick out to me as much as some of the other scenes.
I mean, look, there are some good scenes, but this one just was really insanely funny to me. Just seeing Reynolds threaten, like, it's like wish fulfillment of the highest order. You want to go back in time and scare the crap out of the bullies that may or may not have bothered you. So just the hilarity of this grown man threatening childhood bullies, and just like again those run of like, shut up, Chuck. Just threatening, I'm gonna remove your bone. I'm gonna pull your bones from your body, sharpen them, and stab little Chucky here with them. What did I do? Shut up, Chuck. Just really funny. Anyway, but I mean, just to your point with the action. I mean, to the action again. I think the big takeaway is, whether you have discrepancies with the lightsaber or not, the mag cell to be specific. The action set piece was really cool, though. Kind of fighting.
I like that they have really dramatic stakes in pretty much all of the action set pieces. I think, Dragon, that's what prevented the action from dragging into the usual trap that a lot of action these days goes for me, where it's like, and they're fighting, fight. It's like pretty much all the action scenes in this movie. It's like they're fighting for something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really like that. I really dig the sacrifice at the end of the first act, and just Ryan Reynolds screaming, "God damn it!" as he, as he's driving away from his wife, who he literally just found out wasn't dead. Like that was a really emotional moment, Dragon. That was honestly a big high point for me as far as the action goes.
So speaking of which, Zoe Saldana as Laura, I thought she was good.
Yeah, she's good. I don't necessarily think she's doing much that we haven't seen her do already, but she's pretty solid. I like the idea of her character, like, is just kind of like an emotional anchor. She doesn't get a ton of screen time, but I like her as a motivator.
I mean, even in the brief screen time she has, you buy the loss, in that you buy the relationship, and you feel the sacrifice of what he's given up, and like the whole it's a very slim chance they're going to meet each other again under similar circumstances. Just there's chancing that they're going to meet each other again. I mean, I gotta tell you, I like how straightforward the plot is on the whole, with the premise of future Adam. He goes from 2050 to he tries to go to 2018, but ends up in 2022. So a little kind of roadblock there, and then ultimately, so again, it's pretty straight line backwards. 2050, 2022, 2018. Very simple. And so here are the issues I have with the movie. I got two big issues. Okay, once again, I like I'm a gadget nut. I love the technology, like the mag cell. It's cool. Beyond that, the time travel theory itself, the idea of a magnetic particle accelerator that basically produces wormhole method of time travel, which that is, many people who theorize time travel, it is all about the wormholes in real life, in terms of all the theoretical stuff. The only problem is it's like, if you went through the wormhole, you'd be condensed into like a pebble or something.
Right. There's like a big risk of like, okay, like theoretically, yes, but we don't want to risk it quite yet.
Yeah, basically, you can go back in time, just you won't come out in one piece at the end.
Exactly.
It's like you'll weigh the same as you do now, but you'll be the shape of a marble. So that's the big bug to work out with time travel. The point being, though, so the wormhole thing, that's all really cool. And honestly, with the wormhole effect, I think looks really awesome. Just seeing the little mini wormhole open up.
I think the wormhole, I'm sorry, the wormhole looks really good. I also think the ships look pretty good, especially for a Netflix movie.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But here's the BS I'm going to call out, though, with the tech and the pseudoscience. Again, this is utter. I think is the dumbest thing in the movie. The DNA lock on the device. This is the most contrived way to bring the kid along on the journey. It's that. So let me get this straight. You're saying because his vitals are bad, which, by the way, he's still kicking. He's just been shot, which is not ideal. He's not particularly dying. It's a through and through. Which I know if you want.
You know what? I'll be honest with you and say a lot of the time travel stuff, like, logically, just does not work. And to tell you the truth, I think because the emotional beats in this movie work as well as they do, I'm honestly willing to turn my brain off for some of it.
But that's the thing. It's not the time travel. The time travel is fine. I'll give it a leap. Like the whole, okay, it takes 30 years. It takes time for.
I'm not saying the logic. I'm saying like the plot reasons, like you just pointed out.
Yeah. It's just the fact that it's like the vitals. It's like, well, he's still gonna have vitals even if the DNA is damaged. Which is not really how that works.
Yeah.
It's like he needs healthy DNA. That makes no sense. Anyway, the other that's more just the irritating, like on the nose, like come on, this really, if you say this out loud, it doesn't make much sense. But the thing that fundamentally I'm not crazy about, it's not like it's an interesting problem to have, the villain thing. So Catherine Keener plays Maya Sorian, the big boss lady who
I
basically
actually
funded.
kind of like this villain. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
mean, here's the thing. My fear with Shawn Levy is that his villains aren't really his strong suits. Him going to Deadpool, that's my only
Oh
fear.
God, she's way better than freaking Taika Waititi was.
I
In
thought
my
Waititi
opinion.
though is a commentary on what in a real life thing though. So I mean,
Yeah, I
I can
guess,
buy
but
a
it was
lot
like
more.
super duper on the nose.
I mean, but that said, so you're not saying she's on the nose too? I mean, she's very
I'm
trans.
saying she's more subtle than he was.
How is she subtle? She's very obviously like there's no shades of gray, no
What
shades
I
of like.
like about her is I like the fact that we see the two different timelines and we see how quickly Dragon, she almost kind of reminds me of like, like Bob Chapek before and after he became CEO. You know what I mean? It's like before he was just kind of like this pudgy little roly-poly bean counter who just kind of seemed like a little bit, like it's kind of like a background player. Then after evil, just straight evil. That honestly kind of was the vibe I was getting. Like, okay, like her character is an example of just how quickly someone can be corrupted when they're in a position of power.
Hmm.
Like I like the interaction the two sides of her have. That's the one thing I do like about her. I like she's not a great villain by any means, but I don't know. I have a soft spot for Catherine Keener too, as you know. So
Well, that's the
I don't
thing. I
know.
mean, I'm not saying it's bad casting or anything. It just feels like even with the scenes that we do have, it just feels a little like it's more like an expo dump of like, okay, so she biffed, she did the biff thing from Back to the Future too, where she gave herself tips from the future so she can build her stock options, get money, and fund the research and invent and basically have a monopoly on time travel.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I'm saying. Here's the thing though, while she is a hollow, to me she's kind of like a hollow or kind of like a very transparent, okay, she's very clearly the bad guy, there's no like, hey, I'm actually the good guy, Adam, don't run away. It's like no one's going to fall for that, and very clearly he doesn't fall for that. But we don't really need her to be that deep though, so it's not exactly a problem, it's just a
Right.
little. So that's where I'm at on it. It just feels like, man, it bothers me because in the third act we have a moment where we think the past one might be coming around to our side, but ultimately we just shoot her. So it's just kind of like, well, what was
Yeah,
the
I'll
point?
admit that was a little underwhelming of a way to dispose of the past version.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we don't really have her like making a change in mind that then makes the other one fade out of existence. Like, no,
Uh-huh.
it's that's what kind of which wouldn't
If
really
anything,
track.
I feel like the screenplay was kind of building up to the past one shooting the future
Yeah,
one.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So that's why I had problem with the villain thing. That's the dimension I'm looking for if we're gonna do that past future self interaction with herself. But again, I don't know.
Right.
From out on that. Okay, let's see. Okay, we already spoke to a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Okay, so let's talk 2018. Let's talk back during the simple times. Let's
I know,
also
right? Isn't that funny that 2018 can almost be a goddamn period piece in its own right?
also of all years, yet another Ryan Reynolds connect 2018, Deadpool 2.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, so Mark Ruffalo. So again, I like that we go from
Ruffalo
the
is the
mother.
heart of this movie, I think.
Absolutely is, and I like that we went from the mother to the father, so we kind of incorporate things without just kind of cramming them in. It's like, okay, so we've kind of handled the mother up front, now we're handling the
Uh-huh.
father once we go to 2018. Yeah, also Ruffalo and yet another time travel thing. Kind of funny,
Indeed.
but
I
yes, he
think
is
the
the heart of the
scene
family.
where he recognizes the older Adam right away is like far and away the best scene in the movie
It's such a
for
great
me.
moment when the two boys, like when young Adam, runs up and hugs his father because again he's still freshly grieving, like a year and a
Uh-huh.
half, and the other Adam, he just stares at the other Adam, just like there's that knowing glance of like, yeah, there's some distance there, yeah. So such a unique and interesting, kind of situation to put them in. He has his two
Yeah, pretty
sons.
much everything about this character just works really well. Like he is the reason why this movie works as well as it does for me on a lot of levels, like at least plot wise.
Yeah, I think I love that you get to see where Adam got a lot of his kind of his quippage and his loquaciousness from. You see where he got the stubbornness and loquaciousness from his father when his father's like, no, I'm not pretty much doing like that. I'm not listening pretty much.
Uh-huh.
During that scene at the college, and of course he punches his father in the face and then hits him back. We don't hit people in this family. What was that?
What was that?
So we have. I think the funniest line in the whole film though is him saying to his younger son after the old. It sounds like we need a flow chart, but just bear with me here. So so after the older son punches him in the face, the father says to his younger son, questioning, "I thought you loved me." And the son says, "But I do." The "but I do" just cracks me up. But I do. So just such a clever.
And you know what? I do think that in that regard, the two different age groups with Adam, I do think it's an interesting commentary on how our view of parents sort of shifts over time, where there's like very much a hero worship kind of like idealized version of them when you're a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you get older and older, they become more human, and the cracks in the armor kind of start to be more noticeable.
Exactly. It was very, outside of that gag itself, the punch itself was a great symbolic kind of moment where we literalized like the strife between basically like the diagram of fathers and sons through time and their relationships with each other. Like you said, it's really well represented.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So we also, I like how we recontextualize. This is there's some clever writing in this movie. I really glommed onto, like the importance of catch, for example. Like how young Adam and old Adam perceive the pitchback gift, where the father, where Mark Ruffalo essentially bought his son the pitchback, and basically you can play catch by yourself. And initially, years later, he kind of looked at this as, oh yeah, he was always a workaholic, so he found a way not to play catch with his son. But again, in the moment, the kid, much fresher memory, and again, looking fondly on dear old dad, remembers it as something I kind of glommed onto personally, where it was an act of kindness. Like, you're bonding with the old man when you're going around places. Hey, can we get this? No, not this time. Eventually wears him down, and they buy the pitchback. And it was a gesture of love and connection. It was really nice.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was, again, a lot of really kind of fun timey-wimey stuff within kind of like, as you said, the analysis of the father's.
Yes, as the scientists say, Dragon, timey-wimey. Yes.
Some scientists do say timey-wimey.
All right. But yeah, you're right. There is a lot of, and like I said, I like that the movie itself isn't too concerned with the whole idea of like, oh my God, they're in the same, the two atoms are in the same room at the same time. The universe is going to implode upon itself.
Yeah. One of these, Tiki, I swear to you, one of these days, I really want to see Doc Brown's worst fear realized in some sort of time travel media where that happens and the world does fall apart.
Oh my God.
Because every time I watch Back to the Future 2, that is the big thought that I always have. Like, God, they lucked out so much when Jennifer saw herself.
Right.
It's like, God, what would have happened? That's the what if I want to see. Like, oh God, they see each other and the fabric of reality around them starts to tear and just utter chaos. like Doc in the DeLorean is racing to the end of time trying to fix things.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Don't give him ideas, Dragon. Don't give him ideas. I'd rather not see a Back to the Future Part 4.
What if it were animated?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It would be a bad idea. We already have a Back to the Future Part 4. It's called The Game.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Third act.
All right. You're kind of right with the, honestly, I think the climax is a little bit contrived. I still think there's some decent action there.
There's great action in the climax. Dad crashes in with a Subaru. Mom's Subaru. But yeah, there's a little bit of kick in the car. Hey, that's your mother's car. After he's just smashed and totaled it. Like, what? You shaved me with a Subaru, Dad.
We didn't really get into him, but God, I already forgot his name. The henchman dude,
Christos.
Yeah, I like the idea that he's like a military, like an ex-military buddy of Ryan Reynolds, but they literally do nothing with that idea. at all. Nothing.
Well, again, the most you get out of it is that they recognize, even Laura recognizes him from the academy and stuff. They're all like part of this. The idea, like they kind of alluded to it, that basically it's like worse than Skynet in the future, and that's why you need like kind of a time militia of sorts.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like there's no real reason for them to even know each other, like from a plot point of view, because there's no real dramatic tension.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's it's pretty much just like we need him to equip with somebody he would know, and that's really all.
Right. So
yeah,
I found him to honestly be the most shallow part of the whole movie. Like, it wasn't terrible; it didn't drag the movie down or anything. But
if we, it's funny though. Again, with yet another Ryan Reynolds kind of parallel here, it's kind of funny. Ever since Six Underground, seems Ryan Reynolds loves magnets.
Who doesn't love magnets, Dragon?
Well, magnets are cool. I'm just saying, literally, the third act. You never saw Six Underground, right?
No, I didn't.
Six Underground's whole third act is like on a magnetic ship. That basically the big action thing is like the magnet. Ryan Reynolds keeps pushing the button on the magnet, so it just keeps going crazy in the scene.
Oh God!
So it seems very much like, again, another pull. And this movie is pulling a lot from Ryan Reynolds' career, so it feels like yet another pull there. So I love the whole magnetic particle accelerator thing, just kind of having that in play during the action. Like, oh God, now all the magnets and all the metal stuff's going, and like all of our metal coated henchmen are flying around. The kid has like an awesome moment with the superhero landing with the mag cell kind of lightsaber thing, and of course he's a kid; he's not going to last a second against this guy, so he's taken out. I think one of the funniest moments, honestly, I don't know if I call it the MVP scene. It was another really funny one, the standoff gag, which. Again, just the idea of Ryan Reynolds, at least obviously he's gotten past at this point in the film, but playing into the whole self-hating aspect, like, okay, I'm gonna shoot your younger self, which is gonna kill you if you don't give me the basically the quartz component that goes, the little diamond thing that is like the central processor of the thing. Well, I'm thinking about it. What's there to think about? They're all like, even the baggers like, no, what are you thinking about? Just get
right.
Just really funny. Just like, well, how would everyone react to that? You never see that in anything. It's so funny. All right, let's see. Also, we call out the armor-piercing bullets thing. Like, you have to go through me. Well, no, they're armor-piercing bullets. It's not going to work, which provides the solution with the magnets. Oh! Yeah. So, all in all, really cool action. Ends up being a really sweet bit of closure between father and both sons. They're playing catch, saying their goodbyes. We have a healthy relationship with dad because the kid was able to get his goodbyes in with him.
I really love the subtle way, and he drops the ball one time, turns his back for a split second, and they're gone.
Yeah,
that was super effective for me.
So darn classy. Loved it. Mm-hmm. Also, the whole "my boy," you're my boys through time. That was adorable.
Okay, Dragon. Let me ask you something. With the big speech that Ruffalo gives to Ryan Reynolds, did you think there was just a tiny bit of meta humor of like, oh, it's the Hulk being super sappy and sentimental to Deadpool?
Well, it's funny when they were reaching for the for the catching equipment. If you notice, there's an Easter egg there on the little plastic tote. You have a Deadpool sticker and an Incredible Hulk sticker.
Okay, and I'm convinced that the Hulk is going to be in Deadpool 3. You've heard that rumor, right?
I have not heard that rumor, no.
Oh, really? You haven't? Yeah,
no.
That's the rumor right now.
Well, it does bring to mind the first, not first, technically the second Deadpool comic from the Joe Kelly run was Deadpool interacting with the Hulk.
And of course, Hulk versus Wolverine as well. I doubt we're going to get that, but not in Deadpool 3. Eventually, I hope we get that.
You just got me thinking, Tiki, because that would be the wish fulfillment.
Would that be a good Deadpool 3 thing?
Well, I'm
just saying, as far as like actually being like a Deadpool movie as opposed to a movie with Deadpool in it, if that makes sense.
What I mean is, if you had for a moment in that movie, if you had Hugh Jackman in the yellow suit fighting the Hulk, as in literally, that would be your way of getting three things. The big
right,
you check off all the boxes. You get to have then the way I've said, the only way Hugh Jackman should ever come into the MCU would be if you were fighting the Hulk in the yellow suit, and you'd have that and Deadpool in the mix. So you'd have like two huge things of wish fulfillment, and you'd be able to achieve them. But again, as the crux of the film, a lot of people I've been hearing Taskmaster, which again was also a thing from those early Joe Kelly comics, and Deadpool and Taskmaster are buddies. He was almost in the first movie. We desperately need a better Taskmaster after Black Widow. There's Taskmaster, I think, would be the easiest MCU kind of tie-in you could do.
But what do you think of my point, though? Do you think that there was some level of like, it's two Marvel guys and they're being overly sappy with each other?
I mean, it didn't occur to me, Tiki, but that's an interesting read on it. I have to go back to it and see like how much of that might be in there. I knew there was a little bit.
I'm just saying, Ruffalo really goes all in for the "I love you, Adam. I really love you."
I mean, I just read it very face. I looked at it here.
Maybe that's just the cynical asshole in me talking. I don't know.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I was a little moved by it. Just the fact that he was there and just saying, hey, don't get all quippy on me. I'm trying to give you closure. I already gave him closure. I'm saying, listen, buddy, I love you. All right, and he brings him in. So he cuts through the crusty, the crusty.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was mostly just thinking about like the Hulk rumors for Deadpool 3 in the moment. So it was very much on my mind. So all right. Yeah. All right. Okay, and then we get the big hug at the end with the mom, which that's definitely a nice kind of moment.
I love they called out like the side hug and stuff. Like none of that side. I do the side hug all the time. I'm guilty.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Dragon. I tower over my grandma, so it's like sometimes I feel like the side hug is just like the safest option.
Yeah. No, I'm just emotionally distant. That's just my thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
No, I mean I don't like going in for the full anyway.
I was like, oh God, did I strike a nerve with your grandma there?
No, not with the grandmother. I'm just saying on principle, I'm a side hugger. More. Like,
I'm sorry. It's like when you sounded like I struck a nerve, like you had some deep seated issues with your grandmother that I just.
No, oh God, no. Well, she's like my sidekick, man. We're all good.
Yeah. That's what I thought. All right,
yeah, we're movie buddies. We're all good there. Yeah. I'm just saying on principle, I'm a side hugger. I don't go in.
Okay.
Anyway, again, emotionally distant, but not just like I'm not targeting anybody.
Fair.
Regardless, ending I really liked. Adam and like, do you think it's a bridge too far? Adam and Laura meeting the optimistic ending that they
No, I like it. I like it. I like that. There's a little bit of ambiguity to it.
Yeah, and again, it was like they met each other in kind of a happier kind of place, a little happier, like not in like an academy or something. It's like they're in college and they're gonna meet each other. Like, hey, let me walk.
I mean, it's definitely a meet cute, Dragon. It's like a textbook dictionary definition of a meet cute. But
yeah, who doesn't like a good meet cute? Everyone loves a good meet cute. The first thing you buy in the grocery aisle, man.
Oh God,
you need the meet cute. It's necessary at every barbecue.
So yeah, just as final thoughts, this definitely surprised me. I don't know, like you can love Free Guy all you want, Dragon. That's totally fine. I'm not gonna diminish your opinions on that, but I think this is a far more. I think this is gonna hold up more than Free Guy. I'll say that much because I think Free Guy, like one of the things that really doesn't hold up for me with that movie is just how dependent on that movie is on like, current technology and pop culture references. And I just don't think it's going to age well. Whereas this, I totally could see aging well. I really could. I really can see this kind of becoming like a little bit of like, like 5 years from now, like, oh yeah, remember the Adam Project? That was a really good movie, like one of those ones where it's like, it's never going to be like like I said, it's never going to be like the highlight of the year or anything like that. But I could see myself looking back fondly on this just because I think it has, it's a high concept premise and it actually nails the sentimental tone, which, is rare for me to say because I think when you're dealing with a sentimental tone in an action movie, it's very easy to go too far one way or another. And I think all around the performances in this are really damn good. Even I think even Catherine Keener, like her character is not the most nuanced at all, but I think she's having fun with the role at the very least. So, all right, yeah, this is a decent surprise for me.
Yeah, again, I'll say again, Levy's making a comeback. Again, this is, I think, yet another kind of win for him. And again, hopefully, the best is yet to come with Deadpool. I mean, I'll mention this here as real quick. The thing I'm most excited for with Deadpool 3 is not Shawn Levy, is the fact that we still have have Brett Reese and Paul Wernick on, which originally they were not supposed to be on for the third one, but we got them back.
The writers, I assume.
Yes, the writers on the first two Deadpool movies.
Nice,
again,
nice.
So we still have three of the four brain trusts involved. So I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, again, I'm always down for a good Ryan Reynolds movie. So this was fun. I mean, look, it's no Travelers as far as Netflix time travel products go. I mean, again, I adore Travels. That's a TV show that has a lot more room to develop. But this was cool though. Again, as in terms of kind of like the throwback to kind of like the buddy action film in regards to time travel. This was yes, it's fun. Again, importantly, I think it delivered on pathos, and I think when you go back to the movie, it's like, my God, this really is kind of like Ryan Reynolds putting some heart and soul into this, whether it be like intentional in the writing or just by kind of coincidence, and maybe the performance is bringing it out in this movie. Again, there's something special in this movie that you can't quite put your finger on, but it definitely comes through, and I think it's comforting. It's a nice comfort.
It is. It is. That's a good way to put it. All right, folks. Have a good night. See y'all later.
Time travel, right?